Hey, good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock. It must be time to do some coding. I have actually been coding for like 45 minutes already this morning, and the reason is because when we left off yesterday, I spent a bunch of time fighting with our permissions model for being able to acquire a user's first name. So we're going to work a little more on that today. I'm not optimistic that I'm going to make a ton of progress based on what I've done so far. Good morning, A-Witters. But I think that I have a strategy. I have the carrot that I can dangle, which is achievement points. And so I think one of the things that I'm going to do is tell people when they go to the scoreboard, because that's what we left off yesterday, is you could say scoreboard or what's my score or how many achievements do I have, and it'll tell you your point total. But it also tells you what place you are on the scoreboard. And so... good morning, R-Blank. So as we think about the scoreboard and the fact that people are interested in this stuff, one of the things I'm going to try to say to them is, hey, I would really love to have your name next to your total on the scoreboard. If you give me permission to have that, I will give you 10 extra points or something like that. So we have an achievement for them giving me their name, and obviously I can detect that because I would have had... and so I think I need to figure out the best structure for this. I think that's really where I'm landing on it. I also this morning built myself a first name intent, so I could just say, okay, fine, what's your first name? And then they could just give me their first name. I think I'm going to veer, I think ultimately I'm going to veer away from that. Good morning, W. Giorgio. Because the first name and like the first name slot is just so, it has so much gravity. I really like that term. That's the term that I use for strong things like search query slot and other stuff. It has a lot of gravity. And so because it has a lot of gravity, a lot of random things that you might say fall there instead of in like the missed answer slot, for example. So the battles that I'm having here, let's just jump over this. The battles that I'm having in my head are, man, the easiest way to get somebody's name is to ask them. This is dumb to make them jump through all these hoops to get their name. But getting their name that way causes a whole bunch of other challenges with making the rest of my intents and slots work properly. So like I said, I built a first name intent. You can see if I look in here, I have a first name intent. I'm using the first name slot. They could say things like my name is first name or just their first name. And maybe losing this element, maybe this would maybe that would make it different. But then I've got to coach them to say it the right way, because if I say, what's your first name? They're going to say Jeff. They're not going to say my name is Jeff, although they might, but that seems unlikely, right? We have to think about what users will do, not what we want them to do. And so then I have my first name intent, and like I wrote a thing here like, hey, I heard your name is Jeff. I'll add that to the scoreboard. But as you can see here, like I said Jeff, and then I said Tony, and then I said tacos. And tacos is like my tester word to see where it lands. I think tacos should land in my... Surly, I don't know if you know this. This is 3 times this week. 3 days in a row, in fact. We're on a streak. Yeah, and I'll probably be back tomorrow also. I'm really trying to get a good rhythm. I don't have any travel currently planned, although I'm going to work on a trip to Seattle maybe the end of March. But I don't have any travel right now, so it's really easy for me to put consistent things together, and I'd like to do that. So, Surly, thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. Tacos, I feel like if somebody says tacos, or they say baseball cards, or water bottles, or whatever, like all of those things that I don't know, I don't have responses for, I'd like those to fall in the missed answer. Because it's likely that you were asking me a question about something, and I just didn't know the answer to it. And if it doesn't match one of my slot values, then I want to catch it, mark it as a missed answer, and then I can work with my team to like add that as an answer if it makes sense. But if my first name slot is catching all of those, then I don't know. And now I'm calling you tacos, which probably isn't a thing you wanted to do. I mean, maybe that's your name. I don't know. But that feels wrong to me. So I think I'm going to abandon the first name slot thing and go back to like the approach that I was thinking of. And I have tried like 30 different approaches here, and it just seems like there's some checking and some other stuff that is tricky. So I think the only place that I'm going to do this, I originally thought about doing this in my response log, where like every time I push something back to the user, I could ask them for their name. But I don't really care about their name that much unless they care about the scoreboard and they care about putting their name there. Otherwise, I don't really need it. And so I feel like this is a good niche case for times when you ask about the scoreboard. I could say, hey, by the way, I don't know your name yet. Can you give me permission? I'll give you another achievement for doing it. And so that's what I'm gonna. I think that's the approach that I'm gonna try. And so I'm gonna pseudocode this thing out a little bit, and we're gonna say if we don't have their name in the database, then it's time to start begging. Okay. And so that's this. If I don't have their name in the database already, then we're going to start begging. And what I want to do here is say, I mean, I don't think there's any problem with sending them multiple permissions cards. So I think no matter what, if I don't have their name, I'm going to send them a permissions card. It doesn't really cost me anything. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. But ideally, I would only want to do this if I hadn't already sent them a permissions card. And so this is where this. Let's leave this comment in. I got to talk this through. I got to work this out in my head. So if they have granted us permission, then get their name into the database. This is where the checking comes in weird, because like, how can I check if they have granted us permission? Good question, Jeff. Okay, so then I have, if they granted us permission, get their name into the database. That's going to be, we had this stuff here. So I have, in the Alexa cookbook, let me blow this up for you a little bit. In the Alexa cookbook, we actually have code that's very similar to what A. Witter shared yesterday. And you may have even gotten it from here. But this is the bit that will call out, and it will get the profile name if permission exists. So let's take this with the try. Copy that. And so if they've granted us permission, then we want to get their name into the database. So we need to do I think I have a way to check this. If session attributes dot, I have to remember what this is called. It's not this one. This is another thing that I was looking at that I was very confused by. And I feel like maybe there's a tech doc for this, but I just don't have it. So every single time I get this API access token that I can look at, and this API access token allows me to then call any of the APIs on behalf of this user to get their data. But what I've noticed is if they've granted me permissions, I have a permissions node here that has something called a consent token, and this consent token is exactly the same. I think it's exactly the same. Let's go out to the end. This ends in MZOWQ, and this ends in... Ooh, it's not the same. Interesting. If I try to find something in there, MZ... I'm not finding anyway. Okay. So I assumed that these were the same because they look the same at the beginning. EYJ0EX, AIOI. But if I scroll out further, this one seems shorter, this consent token. Okay, well now that I know they're different, maybe I need to learn something. So let's go to Tech Docs somewhere. If I say, where's the search? I thought there was search here. Consent token. Okay. I think this is what we were looking at yesterday. So each request sent to your skill includes an API access token. Perfect. Then I have this ask for permissions consent card. That's the thing that I'm doing. So what is the consent token? I don't even see that in here. The consent token seems to only appear, though, when they have granted me permission. So it's not so much that I need to use the value, it's that I want to detect that the value exists. And like I said, it's only there. Can I just... Consent token doesn't even exist on this page. Obtain customer settings information. Is this the same? No, that's just the settings. Okay. So I don't know why we're not talking about that consent token. And then I have used voice forward consent. And I've really got to use, I've got to at least install this too, right? This is how I want it to work. But it says up here, prerequisites. Your skill must support personalization. We'll get to that. All right, well, let's do the card-based one first. So I think I'm going to use it that way. And so the thing that I wanted is session. I'm just going to check to see if it exists. If session attributes, it's not even session attributes. It's handler input dot context dot system. Dot user dot permissions. Like, why is system capitalized there? User dot permissions dot consent token. Whoa. Whoa. Consent token. But permissions isn't there either. So all I really need to do is say, if this doesn't equal undefined, then we're going to say they've granted us permission. So if that's the case, then we're going to go ahead and try to grab their data. And so to do that, we're going to use these 2 lines here, 3 lines. And so we're going to try it because it could potentially error because my validation may not be correct. But then we'll do a close here and then a catch error like so. I don't even know what I would catch or how. Like we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I'll do a console log error just in case we hit there, but hopefully we'll be able to do this. And so I'm saying if permissions doesn't equal undefined, and I guess I could just do it this way, and we'll do a thorough check on this. Dot consent token. It is too warm in here today. We've had some unseasonably warm weather. It's February in Ohio. That should be cold. And it's like, I mean, it's like 60 out. So we're gonna open the window. Okay. So I have permissions and consent token. Do those exist? If they do, then we're gonna try this and try to get the name. So I'm gonna need that outside this scope. So var name equals nothing for now. Actually, we could just do this. And then name is going to be this. So we're setting name to something if any of this is successful. And then if this is not true, right? If those don't exist, then we're going to have to say something to them. And we're going to want to say something in here too. So if let's do it down here. We're going to do like a greet the user with their I do need service client factory. Thank you. I tend to just do this. Handler input. Thank you. Thank you for that catch. Handler. I don't mind going long form. Greet the user with their name and save it to the database. Award an awesome achievement. Okay, so I've got a note to do that. So if they've granted us permission, then let's get their name into the database. Although I'm saying save it here, I guess I could do it. I'm gonna wait. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here. I feel like if this does, see, the problem is that I'm trying this, so I don't know if this is gonna work. And if it fails, I don't want to be messing up my database and putting stuff in there. So I feel like I could get all the way out of this thing. If these are grant us permission, then let's then get their name from the API. Okay. So my else is this thing. But then I also want to do that with some finesse so that I'm saying something. I'm reminding them that, like, hey, if you go give me permission, I'll give you an awesome achievement. So we're gonna say speak output equals speak output plus I've sent. I can put your name on the scoreboard. I just need your permission. I've sent a card to your Alexa app. I've sent a card to the activities. Activities? What do we call that? To the activity tab. Tab's not even right. Section of your Alexa app. If approve it, I'll give you another achievement for worth 10 points. Okay. So that's a lot of begging. But I've sent the card and I've added it to my speak output. I think I also need to make sure that I'm... Let me look at my permissions here. I want to make sure that I do not currently grant permissions so that I can... Yeah, I currently do. Okay. Okay, my settings are now disabled, so I'm not granting permission. Restarting my terminal. We're going to come over here, and we're going to say scoreboard.
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked.
What
Please
bug
try
did I
again.
introduce? Cannot read properties of null. Sorry, what? Is system not even there? System, user, and I'm trying to read. Make sure I've got this right. Version and session, and context. And inside context, there's viewports, viewport, extensions, and system. And then inside system, there's user. Okay, let's try this. This feels like this should work. Good morning, Dana Voice. This is why you use has own property. Yeah. But this feels like something different, at least this time. Error.
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked. Please try again.
Scoreboard intent, line 13. Okay, let's do this the brute force way. Scoreboard. Handler input. What do you have inside you? You're saying the context has nothing? What? Handler input here. Context is null. What are you talking about? Oh, because it's okay. That's just okay. That's fair. That's fair. You can call me on it. Okay.
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked.
So
Please try again.
request envelope. It's that I just forgot that. It's like it felt like something different than just a basic property not being there. Okay. Scoreboard.
You have 2 points, which plants you firmly in first place. I can put your name on the scoreboard, I just need your permission. I've sent a card to the activities section of your Alexa app. If you approve it, I'll give you another achievement worth 10 points. What would you like to do next?
Update permissions. So I'm doing what they asked. I'm giving them access to my first name. We're gonna try to figure out this voice forward stuff too. I think maybe that's what the other thing we'll work on today. Okay, so now I've granted permission. I'm not really ready for this. Okay, so let's think about what that means. So this else case worked nicely. I got my card and I said the thing. If I do it the other way, now I've granted permissions. I don't have their name in the database though. If name, then we can let's just do something simple for now, and then we'll worry about the database interactions. Boy, oh boy. Okay, this is just temporary. We don't have to worry about permanency here. Name. Thanks for giving me permission. You've just unlocked 10 more points. Good enough for now. I just want to demonstrate that I got the name. Okay. Scoreboard.
I heard you say your name is Scoreboard.
Oh.
I'll add that to the scoreboard. What should we... You have 2 points, which plants you firmly in first place. What would you like to try?
Okay, so we didn't get it. I have my consent token, that exists. So we must have... Huh. Why didn't I get a name? Alright, how about if I do like a little... Did I get an error in my code? I did. So the authentication token does not have access to the resource. This is the error I was getting last night when I was trying to call this. And so that's why I put the console log in here. But the thing is that they do have access. So why am I getting an error? It feels like that should work. Get profile name. Okay. Score board.
Jeff, there was an error getting the user's name. You are currently in first place, with a score of 2. What can I help you do next?
Okay, so we're getting an error. The authentication token does not have access to resource. But it does. But it does. If I look at settings, I have granted account permissions for first name. Is it... Let's go look at the definition of this. Can't do any of that. Can I go dig into the SDK? Let's go look at this file. Voice node modules, SDK model. Okay. So we're gonna do some digging here. We're gonna take a look at the actual SDK. So we want the Ask SDK model, and then in there we want index.js and we want line 219. Let's just see what's doing. 219. Unknown error. The authentication token does not have... Let's search for that. Okay. So we are basically doing, and I think... Yeah, Quell, that's exactly what I was thinking is. If I... Am I when I call this function, am I actually calling, like, is get profile name, is that actually the function I want? I think it probably is, but... Profile.name. I'm pretty sure that's what we were looking at yesterday. If I can find the doc I was looking at. So given name, profile name. It could be that I'm just calling the wrong function. it is. That's the problem. So is there a given name? Call get profile name. Okay, we're getting closer here. Get profile name is the function. So it looks to me like if I look for given name, get person's profile given name, calling the wrong function. Boy, that's dumb. It's nice when we can just take a API, an SDK apart. So let's call get person's profile given name and see if that changes anything for us. That would be... Here's the thing that really bugs me, though, is if I look at this. I assumed that they were using given name. They're using profile name. So everything in this sample is correct. I just misinterpreted it. Okay. I can say I'm dumb sometimes. Let's try that again. Scoreboard.
Jeff, there was an error getting the user's name. Your 2 points puts you in first place. What can I help you do next?
What is the naming on this? And you wanted me to dig into, if I look at the you wanted me to look at the TypeScript file. Is that a better representation? I don't want profile. I want the word given. Get profile given name. That is a different function than what I just had. Get profile given name. All right. Scoreboard.
Jeff, thanks for giving me permission. You've just unlocked 10 more points. What would you like to do next?
We did it. We did it. Celebration time. We got their name. So, okay, so that's good news. We've got a nice clean sample here that gets all of this. I don't ever want this message to be sent to the user, so I'm going to delete that. I'll still log it. Get profile given name is the thing I want to call. They're out fertilizing my yard. So a quick side story. Last year I decided I was going to be super clever and save a ton of money, and I fired my lawn service company. No mowing, no fertilization, no treatments, no anything. I'll just do it myself. And my yard progressed using all the treatments. I used all the Scott stuff. Like, they even mail it to me so I can do it when I need to. My yard progressively got worse and worse and worse. My grass started to look gross. Clearly, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, in the fall, when I was just staring at my yard and it looked terrible, I decided to find a new company. And so, I don't have a mowing company yet, but I do have a robotic mower. We'll talk about robotic mowers once it comes back for the spring. But that has been fantastic. The only downside to having a robotic mower is it doesn't pick up leaves in the fall. Like, when I had a mowing company come out, like, they could just blast over it with their lawnmower. They're huge, like, riding lawnmowers, and it would just destroy all the leaves. 'Cause I don't have a ton, but I have some leaves. And a robotic mower doesn't do that. So I found myself out there, like, leaf blower, rake, whatever, like, picking them all up, which isn't really work I want to do. But not mowing all summer was pretty awesome. Like this little robot just kind of rolls around the yard all summer. It's super cool. So I'm going to do that again this summer. And then maybe I'll have to hire some neighborhood kids or something to pick up my leaves. Who knows? Okay. We are good here for getting their permission. So there's one more thing that I really need to do, which is that I need to create that actual achievement so I can give it to them. So we go to achievement, and we're going to have something that is like, I don't know what I'm going to call this. Permission name. You gave us permission to get your first name. We're going to make that worth 10. Okay, permission landed up here. So we now have our permission called permission name. Now we need to do what we did yesterday, which is award the achievement. I think I actually left that code in here. I did. So we're going to take this. And we're going to put it right here. We're going to call this permission name. Okay, so now I'm actually giving you the achievement. If you haven't already gotten it, it'll play the noise and all this stuff. And then if this is the first time you called the scoreboard also, then good on you, because that means that you set the permission before it was even possible. A leaf sweeper quell, you say? I have seen those. What I'm trying to avoid, quite honestly, is more yard appliances. Like, I don't even own a lawnmower anymore. That thing looks sweet, though. I had one of those when I was a kid. A lawn sweeper. What I should do is make the leaf mulch. I should get the leaf mulcher. That thing looks sweet also. Very cool. All right, I'll have to think about it. I'm trying to avoid buying more things, but I'm sure I will. Okay, you checked the leaderboard. You gave us permission to get your first name. So now let's actually award that achievement, and that I think we're there. So I can lose all of this. Oh, there's one more thing I'm not doing, which is actually saving their name to the database. Okay, and I think I have like a update user. No, I'm gonna have to create a new one of these update user domain functions just for user name, which is good. Okay, we can do that. And then I won't need this file at all. This was me trying to do it old style, so we're gonna delete that. I don't need get user first name, which means I also don't need it here. Oh. Here. Get user first name. Because it'll be part of their record anyway, so it's not something that's missing. Okay, so scoreboard intent. We have to actually save it to the database. We'll do that here in a second. And then I feel like we're pretty good. It's unlikely they're going to get both of these achievements at the same time, because you wouldn't even have been prompted. Yeah, it's impossible. You wouldn't have even been prompted to... I got to put this back up so I can see what you guys are saying. Yeah, Quell, I'm not sure yet about getting people to do something outside your skill. I haven't really given that a big try. I should. And for this skill, I am actually doing that in a bunch of places. So if I say, let me show you an example of this. If I come over here and I say, when is Alexa live?
Achievement unlocked. You have now heard 5 different answers. You have earned 1 point. Here's what I know about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational event for skill builders, device makers, and business leaders on July 22nd, 2020. What should we do now?
So you can see that this is my APL interface. I have a big button here, and so if they're on a device with a screen, yeah, I have old data in there because I know the date, but I can't share it yet. So we're just leaving old data in there until I can announce the new dates. But the this button here, register here, if you tap on it on a device, it just launches a browser, right? And so that happens here too. I can tap on it to launch the browser and go to that page. So you could potentially have them do that right on their device. This also works. Well, this really only works here. So this is the APL view, and then I can also write a card. I may also do that at the same time. Let me take a look. If I write a card also. Yeah, so I also write a card, and it looks like that in the app. It's the top one. Now that's not clickable, but it is in the app, so it's an option for those people that are paying attention to their activity. That's a way to at least get them to see that. But I would guess the majority of people anymore, because it's not super visible, like it's kind of buried a little bit. My suspicion is a lot of people aren't looking at their activity, and that's why in my instructions here, the activity section of your Alexa app, like I had to really call that out, because otherwise they wouldn't even know it exists. And so that's how I do URLs. I think it's important to also have very simple to understand URLs, and so all of my answers that have URLs out here, not there, out here, you can see that I'm doing some kind of URL shortener that's really like alexa.design/metrics, right? Like I'm always doing something that is a very memorable, like, oh, I could type that in. I could remember that enough to type it in someplace. So I do that pretty frequently, and you can see that for all of these URLs. So I'm not suggesting you need to go buy your own URL shortener, but it does make things a lot easier, for sure. Okay, so that is, yeah, you can see almost all of them are alexa.design/something. And the ones that are blank are just ones I haven't written the content for. So we'll get there. But that's kind of my recommendation, I think. I wish there was a way to have them launch right into like the activity tab. I wish there was a way I could say, click here to give me permission or whatever. But they can't see APL on their phone, so everything falls apart there. Okay. So we now need to do a update user name. And so I'm guessing I can just use this, the same thing. File, save as, copy and paste my own work. We're going to call this update user name. And this is going to be username here. This is going to be name. This is going to be that. We'll come back and do the rest in a second. Let's add it to the registry. Update user name. Nope, not there. And then update user name. Okay. That's good. Now we have this function, and we need to do something with it. So we have this value called name, and really nothing about this should change. If name equals undefined, then domain equals nothing. This is so we put a value in there, and then we want this to be name for our user record ID, and then we're just going to return the same value we passed in because it's not really necessary and we don't need this. Update user name. Okay, so then here we should just be able to say var name response equals await. I should group these together. Data.update user name handler input name. I don't really care about name response, but it's good to have a value passed back just in case. And that feels like that should just work. We'll see. Let's give it a roll. Let's take a look at our database for user. And I have a field called name. This is clearly me with the 3 things. So let's see what happens if I run this and get my name. I also want to make sure that I'm not doing this every time. Let's add that note before I forget. Let's just do the whole thing. This should be an else. Else. No, it shouldn't. If name maybe I should just put this inside. Maybe that makes more sense. If I take this and I say if this stuff, I think I can put this here, because if it fails, it fails. Well, I don't know how I feel about that. Let's see how it works. I certainly don't want to do it every time. I only want to do it, but then this locks it from ever changing. I don't think I care about that so much, but let's say that your name is Jeff Blankenberg in your app. And so I go in and I grab your name, Jeff, and I save it to my database. So that's it. That's the last time I'm ever going to check, because then this will never not be true. So I won't ever look for your name again. But if you were to update your name for some reason, I wouldn't know to go look, which is awfully insensitive to those people that change their name for a variety of reasons. Ethical programming here today, people. That's what we're thinking about. Ethical programming. So let's take this out. We could do this every time. We could do it every time. I don't know how else I would do it. I guess I could compare. There we go. There we go. If the name that I just received from the API call, which I would only do, no, that's not going to work either. I'm only even checking for your name if I don't already have a name for you. That really doesn't solve a problem for me. So the problem is more here. This is going to be a future Jeff's problem. We're just going to leave it like that. Let's see if we can at least store our name before I worry about other things. So we're going to come in here and we're going to say scoreboard. We should see.
Jeff,
Yes.
thanks for giving me permission.
Okay.
Achievement unlocked. You gave us permission to get your first name. You have earned 10 points. What can I help you do next?
Okay. So we're good for now. You can see that I got my 10 points. I have one other thing I want to do in the achievement speech thing. So in this function that I have, which is award specific achievement, I write the speech. And I haven't had this before, but I basically go into here, no, speech, and I get the achievement points. You have earned 10 points. Achievement unlocked. What does achievement unlock say? achievement unlocked. It's just the achievement unlocked sound. You have earned 10 points. Which gives you a total of total. We're going to change these a little bit. So let's create another one. You just got 1 point, which gives you you just got 1 point, making your total. How about another one? Duplicate. Let's see if ChatGPT is hanging out today. It's always, they won't send me the thing to be a subscriber. They won't notify me when they're back. I can't get in here. It's just so overwhelmed. I would use it to write some content for me, but oh well. We'll do it ourselves. That achievement is worth points. You now have I can't say that. I don't want to say points again. You now have 42. Okay. So now we need to go into our code and swap out total. So we're doing points here. We're doing the S's there. We probably could just do it right here in line. Is this the only place that I do it? Points. Points. Yeah, okay. So we could just do it right here. Replace total with, and this gets tricky because I need to add, does it know? Does it know already? Do I have access to any of that? I have session attributes. We kind of need to know. I need to know if it knows already, or if I need to add. Let's go back to my achievements and get rid of permission name. Okay, and then we want to inspect here scoreboard.
Your 3 points puts you in first place. What would you like to try?
Because I already have my name in the database also. So, user, that needs to go away. And then let's try that again. Scoreboard. All right, do it.
Jeff, thanks for giving me permission. Achievement unlocked. You gave us permission to get your first name. You have earned 10 points, which gives you a total of total. What should we do now?
So what I want to see is if in here, yeah, see your score is only 3, so I'm going to have to add it to the value. I just have to add it to the value because it won't know until the next round, and it'll be there in the next one. So I need to say, do I use session attributes in here at all yet? Doesn't. I don't. It's weird that I have it. I'm getting them, but I don't use them. Oh, I am right here. Okay, session attributes that user.record ID. Okay, so we'll do. How do we want to do this? I don't want to add it. We'll make a variable var total equals, and this is going to be the achievement fields achievement value plus session attributes dot user dot score. Is it score? Score. Okay. So then total is this right here. And I'm just lying to them for a second because the database doesn't technically reflect that yet. Or it does, but it doesn't, I haven't gotten that back from the response. So if we refresh this, let's go back to our database, delete my name, go to the achievement table, delete this, and try that one more time. And this time, it should give me my total, which should be 13 this time. Scoreboard.
Jeff, thanks for giving me permission.
Let's go.
Achievement unlocked. You gave us permission to get your first name. You just got 10 points, making your total 13. What can I help you do next?
Okay, and so you can see here that my score is actually 3. At least that's what my skill just received. And so when they talk to me the next time, so if I say scoreboard, I'm not lying to them because their score is 13.
You are currently in first place, with a score of 13. What would you like to try?
Oh, that's weird. Why does it still say 3? That's very weird. Why does it still say 3? I think this interface is lying to me because I'm not doing anything there. This is the... That's my output. So this is where I say you gave us achievement unlock. You gave us permission to get your first name. This is the request that's coming in, and I can see place score 3 right here. But then I say, so this is the response. Then I say scoreboard, and I say thanks for giving me. Oh, that's the previous. So I just say, where's my actual speech? Previous speak, you just got 10 points. No, that's my previous content. The real content's down here at the bottom, right? What's going on? Previous reprompt, previous speak. The score still says 3, but it's definitely 13 now. Weird. You're currently in first place with a score of 13. What would you like to try? Where am I getting that data from? If I go back to my scoreboard intent, I'm just getting some random speech and filling in the values that I get out of the session attributes. That's so weird. Very, very weird. That doesn't feel right to me. Let's try that again. I'm going to start the whole skill over. I just can't figure out how that would be the case. Voice developer.
This is Voice Developer. Did you know you can watch the most recent episode of Office Hours on your Echo Show? Just say play Office Hours. What would you like to do next?
That worked. All right, so we are now... How do I want to handle this? We are... Oh, there's two of them, too. Why is there two? This is the session... Yeah, see, this is the thing I was seeing. I don't even know what this is. There's no content in there. I guess that's a launch request. I guess that's what you'd expect. There's no user data yet. But there must be. Oh no, I just get it after this. Okay, I'm just confusing myself. Do you have to save session attributes at some point? Dana, that is a great question. It has been my experience that just by setting them, they are saved. But it is recommended. There is an actual save function. So if I do Alexa session attributes save, there is a function to do that. So what they recommend is that after you set session attributes, yeah, so this is all I do. I just do this line, which is session attributes that favorite color equals whatever, right? Then I made up favorite color also. And then this is like a save function. It says, hey, set those. But in my experience, this does that too. Like my session variables are being saved. So what does Awitters have to say here? Oh, Awitters is saying for ways to send people to their phone. Yeah, send a phone would actually be a good idea. And actually, that might be a cool new feature for us to add. Although it's in developer preview, that's right. An offer to send a link to get more detailed information or complete a task in your app or website. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've applied to this. I haven't gotten in, but that is a good idea. Take this back up here. How are we doing on time? 10 o'clock. Okay. So we've done the one. We've done the one thing, which is... Well, I have some speech I need to get out of my code, too. We should focus on that before we move on. Okay. This speech needs to become, we're going to call this permission beg. Permission beg. Okay, so permission name, we're going to have one in here called permission beg. I can put your name on the scoreboard, I just need your permission. I've sent a card. Oh, this is achievements. I'm in the wrong place. Delete. Speech. Okay. Permission. Did I do a permission already? I guess not. Oh, that's interesting, though. I already predicted this for myself. I don't have permission to access your type. So I'm going to take this out. In fact, I wonder, do I even use that anywhere? I don't even use that. Okay, so it's nice that I wrote it, but it's not being used yet, so I'm going to change it up. I don't have permission to access your type. That's good. I actually like this. In order to give you that information, you have to give this skill permission. I'm going to lose that. Please check the card I've added to the activity section of your Alexa app to unlock another achievement. Okay, we could just use that. No permission. And we're just going to swap type out for what... I don't have permission to access your first name for the scoreboard. I could drop that in there. Okay. Let's do that. So where this was here. So we need a var no permission speech equals wait. Data.getRandom speech no permission. And do I have a locale in here yet already? Not. No. Okay, and so then this just becomes no permission speech here. And we can do this to do our replacement. We're going to replace type with, well, no, I can't. I can't write English words here because it may not be English. What was I thinking I was going to do there? I guess I could get a localized... What if we do... This is already localized. I don't have permission to access your first name for the scoreboard. Now, do I want to say that? No, because I may have other cases for this. I don't currently have permission to access your first name. Please check the card I've added to the activity section of your Alexa app to unlock another achievement. Now, it doesn't actually work that way, but that's okay. So this is localized, and if I wanted to make a different version of no permission for each locale, I could totally do that. So, for example, if folks in the UK don't say first name, but they say given name or something like that, we'll just make a different one for that. Right now, I'm just focused on getting, for the most part, EN US, but I'm including all of the ENs in the versions that I'm making. And if they need to change, they need to change. That's fine. Okay, so I've gotten that speech out. I don't need to replace type at all now. So we can take those parens away. And this is going to be no permission speech. And then I have to have like a thanks. Thanks for giving me permission, Jeff. Jeff, thanks for giving me permission. We could have multiple versions of that. So we'll say permission thanks. Permission thanks. So it goes here. Permission thanks. Thanks. What did I say? Thanks for giving me permission. Thanks for giving me permission. And then we'll do another one, although people won't hear these. You probably only ever hear this one. Thank you. What? Wow. All right, we have 2 in there for now. That's good. And so this can come out. Var permission ranks. And then I can say name, comma, permission ranks. Okay. Cool. All right, let's go back and delete everything. Delete our achievement, which is this one. Delete our username. And let's run this one more time. Scoreboard. Oh, I should turn my permissions off too. I want to make sure I've got all this. Update permissions. Make sure that the most common use case works. Dana Voice, I don't, and actually what I will do is I'll end up unifying all those calls. So they basically fire all at the same time, but no, I haven't had any issues with latency at all. So my permissions are off. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So say scoreboard. This should be like, hey, dude, give me your stuff.
You are currently in first place, with a score of 3. I can put your name on the scoreboard, I just need your permission. I've sent a card to the activities section of your Alexa app. If you approve it, I'll give you another achievement worth 10 points. What would you like to try?
Okay, so is there more speech that I missed? That's weird. I must not have restarted the code. Let's try that again. That's not what it should have said.
You are currently in first place, with a score of 3. I don't currently have permission to access your first name. Please check the card I've added to the activities section of your Alexa app to unlock another achievement. What would you like to do next?
Okay, now it's using the right speech. That's great. I don't really tell them why, though. Let's change that up. I don't currently have permission to access your first name for the scoreboard. Okay, that's good enough. I don't need to retest that. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grant myself permissions. And now I have permission, so now I say scoreboard.
Jeff, thank you for giving me permission. Achievement unlocked. You gave us permission to get your first name. You have earned 10 points, which gives you a total of 13. What would you like to do next?
Beautiful. Okay. Well, it's already 10:15. I was hoping to do some voice forward account linking also, but I think we'll have to save that for maybe tomorrow. We'll add that to our list of things we want to do, though. So this is the scoreboard intent. We have this stuff. I'm going to add a to-do right here. Add voice forward account linking and use the card-based system as a fallback when it doesn't work. Okay. Awesome. That's good. So we have implemented, I think we've successfully implemented card-based permissions for getting a user's given name. that we have now thought about this. Okay. So that's a to-do. I don't need these to-dos. These are done. Okay. I feel like I could clean this up too. That's pretty clean. If they have granted us permission, they get their name from the API. I'll leave those comments in there for now, maybe forever, we'll see. And yeah, this will be cool. This is an APL trick we'll have to figure out. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for today. That's pretty good. Hour and a half, hour and 20. I'm trying to keep it like between 80 and 100 minutes a day. It's pretty good before I go get all my other work done. Okay. Cool. Everything is saved. We're going to jump in here. We made a lot of changes, but we're going to say this was primarily added given name permissions and scoreboard. All right. All that code's up there on GitHub, so if you guys want to take a look, feel free to tune in. But you know, it was Dana was asking earlier about all these database calls. So I only really have a couple on this page, but you can see like I have these two. These should be grouped up because neither of them are dependent on each other. And I think I have that in. I think I do that in launch request. Before I leave, we'll do this here. Yeah, so it's a structure that looks like this. I'm just going to copy this and we'll do it over there. So here, what I should do is something like this. And I say I want speak output to be, I want it to be plus equal. So we'll have to do one extra step here, but that's okay. So the things that I want are data check achievements permission name. So we'll take that and put that here. And then we'll do this one. It's going to be this one. So we'll call this name response. And we're going to call this permission name. And then what I need to do is say speak output plus equal permission name. But that way, I'm not waiting for one to happen before the next. What this syntax allows me to do is it's going to fire both of them. And then when they come back, I can use them. But it waits until they're both done, but it doesn't do one and then the next and then the next. It just goes, pew. That'll be a good clip. But it sends those out all at the same time, waits for them all to come back, and then once they're all back, then it moves on. That's what the await up here does. So that will save me a little time. Otherwise, I really only have like one data call per condition. So like these I could probably group up, but I didn't. Anyway, that's good for now. And then this one has to kind of happen at the end because I need to know whether or not they need that achievement. All right, let me grouped some async. Okay, now we're done. All right, that's going to be it for today. We'll be back tomorrow and we'll work on some voice forward account linking. That'll be super fun. Not account linking, voice forward permissions. But I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Have a good one.